Well, it's become an annual holiday tradition in Stamford, Connecticut. Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, hurdling himself off the side of the building, all in the name of charity. Actually rappelling down as an elf with Santa Claus. Well, now he's off the side of the building. He's in the building with us. Brian, good to have you here. Listen, I have to ask you, does it ever get, any easier, or maybe the better question, less terrifying going down that building?
I thought you were talking about the winter meetings. No, it's definitely getting easier. You know, I've probably gone down the building over 26 times or something between practice rappels over the last 4 years. So I'm very comfortable now doing it, and I love doing it. I'm glad to be a part of it.
All right, let's turn our attention to the winter meetings, which maybe are a little more terrifying because you got to navigate your way through the lobbies and everything else. But you already had a flurry of activity prior to getting here. Do you feel the majority of your work is done, or do you feel you have a lot more to do in the next few days?
We have more to do over the course of between now and opening day. I mean, I don't know what we're doing at second or third yet. Starting pitching is still a need. We'd love to add another 200 innings if we could somewhere. Bullpen, obviously, from the left and right side, give Joe some options to, you know, slot things out, especially as you work through who's going to be the closer. And so we got some work to do.
Brian, because of the way your outfield is now assembled, we're hearing a lot of talk about Brett Gardner. How many teams have called you about Gardner, and what has to be said on the other end of that phone line for you to be interested?
Well, certainly not looking to move Brett Gardner. He's a great player, and I think will play a big role for us in 2014 on that win column especially. But you know, we've gotten so many calls. It's my obligation to at least hear what everybody has to say, and if there's something for us to consider that somehow overall improves 2014 and beyond, then I guess you have to listen to it. But it'll be hard pressed for us to do something, but time will tell.
Brian, you talked a little bit about your needs so far: second base, third base. You mentioned starting pitching. Out of everything that you feel as though you need to get one, what do you list as the #1 priority right now?
It's hard. I mean, the infield kind of. Listen, Mark Teixeira is coming back from an injury. You could actually, if you wanted to put that as a question mark, regardless, which I don't think is a question mark, but you could argue that first, second, short, third, they're all question marks. Whether you don't have a player's name that you know is going to be manning that position at second or third, or if you have players coming back from injury at short or first. So the whole infield's up for grabs. So because of that, especially second and third, I think that's probably an area I'd love to get some comfort on at some point.
Are you looking more free agents for those positions? Are you thinking maybe swing a trade with a team? What kind of pops out to you right now?
Either one. I mean, I don't know. We're talking. We've thrown a lot of different trade ideas out there that you know, haven't taken hold yet. And I'm still waiting for some teams to respond to some of my text offers, which is the latest and the greatest way to do it. But you know, so far maybe the trade route's the best route, but we'll see.
As you look at some of the guys you have added, what do you expect from an Ellsbury? What do you expect from a Beltran? How do you think those guys are going to fit in? What kind of production do you think you need from them?
Well, Beltran's not official, so I can't really speak to that yet, but we all know what kind of player he is and what he's been for a long time, and the switch hitting ability that he brings, that if you can bring a player like his ability off the marketplace, and hopefully we'll be able to do that here shortly at some point, but that'll bring you back to the Bernie Williams and the Posada days, or the Teixeira, Swisher days. You know, it's nice to have those two switch hitting bats in the lineup, you know, that Joe can, you know, run a 1 through 9 out there and not get banged up late in the game with matchups. But you know, Jacoby Ellsbury is a tremendous player. You know, he's been doing damage for us from the other side of the rivalry here for years to come, and you know, he can beat you with his arm, with his legs, with his bat, and you know, obviously the defense, the legs on the base pass, the stolen bases. So he's a dynamic, you know, up the middle player. So we're excited about adding him in here, and obviously if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a great player for us.
You talk a little bit about Ellsbury. We'll keep it with that outfield. Obviously Beltran not official, but if Gardner is here opening day, how do you see that outfield shaking out?
That's a good question. You know, I have 2 center fielders that are going to be manning left and center. Yeah, kind of what we've had with Gardner and Granderson. So I don't see anything too different going forward. You know, these guys are extremely athletic, and that therefore provides a lot of flexibility. Gardy's played left already, so you know, it looks like it's the easiest thing to do is Ellsbury in center and Gardy in left. You know, but we'll see. We'll just see how the winter plays out still.
You know, one thing that people thought about Ellsbury is they look at, they say, well, he has an injury history, but it's there because he's willing to run for a wall, basically, some of the injuries he's had. Was that a concern for you at all going into this, that you want to keep him on the field?
Well, you definitely need to keep great players on the field, and he's had some injury history. You know, we certainly studied it. One of it was a collision with Adrian Beltre where I think broke some ribs. Another one was he had a collision at second base where he dislocated his shoulder. So they're those type of injuries where when he runs into something at high speed with the type of ability he has, something gives. So he is a player that when he's on that field, he's certainly going to make you aware in a positive way of his presence. And clearly the Red Sox got some championship rings to show for having him as an asset for all those years. So we're happy to have that asset coming our way now.
Brian, you talked about the desire to get 400 more innings. We know Kuroda is one guy who helps take away 200 of those maybe. Where are you getting those other 200 innings from?
We don't know yet. It's going to come from within. It's going to come from without. Without, it'd have to be a free agent sign or a trade, but time will tell. We're just going to have to play that out first. And hopefully something really good falls our way, but the talks will continue both with agents and clubs.
Jack mentioned Kuroda, and that's kind of a signing that flew under the radar a little bit just based on some of the other moves you had made, but how important was it for you to get him back in a Yankees uniform for that rotation?
Getting Kuroda back is big because it's a one-year deal, and we know he can handle New York, and as long as he's healthy, he's going to perform to a level we'll be very happy with. So it protects us. It's 6 months more, and he's been a tremendous pitcher for us since we've gotten him, so we're pretty pumped by that.
Have you had any conversations with Joe Girardi about managing innings of CC Sabathia, of Kuroda when he comes back? We know that Kuroda the last 2 seasons has had a little bit of a tail off in the second half. Has that been a discussion, or will it be a discussion?
I hope to be in a position if we can have a discussion like that, because that means that we have an abundance where we can start managing innings. But no, we haven't had discussions about that at this stage because we just don't have enough that we know slots all the way through, plus the protection at 6, 7, and 8 at the same time. So no, those conversations will happen close to spring training.
Brian, when you talk about the starting rotation, it looks as if the posting system is going to be resolved. Can you look at Tanaka as a guy that you can go and try and hunt down, or do you not really still know where that situation is going because he hasn't been posted yet?
Well, I can't speak to him because he's under control of another club, and there hasn't been a posting system that we've been officially informed of by Major League's Commissioner's Office, so it's kind of an unknown. So it's easy for me to no comment right now because I can't speak to something I don't know anything about. So,
do you still look at Michael Pineda as a guy that can crack that rotation, that can be helpful in that rotation, and is he 100% healthy right now?
Pineda finished the season healthy, and he's a player we have a lot of hope on. He's got great ability. He's in great shape, but I can't say anything other than the fact that he's going to come in and compete for a spot in the rotation. He's got options, so he can go to AAA if he doesn't work out. But we feel if he's healthy, that obviously he's a major league caliber, potentially high-end starter. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed. In 2014, we have a chance to really finally see what we traded for a couple of years ago. What
are you looking for in terms of bullpen help? And do you feel like you need to go out and get a closer with Mariano Gardner, or do you believe that David Robertson can be that guy?
Well, I don't want to anoint David Robertson as the guy. I think he's the obvious candidate, but we've got to let him ease into it and earn it, and it'd be nice to give some competition, to throw in there at the same time. So, it depends how the winter goes. I'm not looking for a closer per se to come in here and be like, you're going to be the guy we're going to sign, and we're not looking to do that. We're looking to get some quality arms out there so they can all compete, and then Joe will make an easy decision in the end. So we'll see what happens.
Brian, a nice guy that you picked up offensively, at least, Kelly Johnson. Do you look at him second base, third base, outfield, some combination of all those things? Where do you see Johnson fitting in?
Well, Kelly Johnson's a big power bat from the left side. He can play third, he can play second, and he can play the outfield. And it provides us with some security and flexibility depending on how our trade discussions or free agent signings continue to progress. So I know I've got a tremendous left-handed power bat off the bench, someone that can play. He's more known for his bat than his glove, but he can play second and third. So if I wind up with a second baseman, I can roll him over as a third guy. And if we have problems at third and I get a second, then I can move him back and forth. So I'm kind of waiting for this thing to play out. But I know it's nice to have the security blanket ready to go, and it'd be good to get a right-handed alternative with him. So then we'd have real good comfort level on what we're going to run out there third on a daily basis until we know what Alex's situation is going to be.
Going back to the bullpen a little bit, Boone Logan was a guy that really was an asset for you the past couple of years, that lefty out of the pen. Do you feel as though you need to go out there and get that lefty, or do you look at a guy like Cabral that can fill in? And has there been any conversation with Boone Logan's representatives?
We've talked to Boone Logan. We've talked to a lot of other lefties too, and Boone's done a great job for us, and we have lefties on the market right now. I mean, on our roster, whether it's a Huff, whether it's a Cabral. Guys coming from our system might step up at the same time. So we just have to wait and see how it plays out. You always want certainty, but there's definitely going to be uncertainty when the dust settles and the pencils go down. At some point in this winter, there's going to be some guys that you're not sure what they're going to do or how that part of the roster is going to shake out. You're just going to have to keep the fingers crossed. At some point, we'll be at that area, and guys will be auditioning in the spring, and hopefully they'll do well.
Brian, you spent many years alongside Joe Torre. He gets the call yesterday knowing that he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Your thoughts on Joe getting that honor?
Very well deserved. I mean, expected. You never know how those votes are going to play out, but right away, you're like, when you heard what this class was going to be, you're looking at Torre, Cox, La Russa, and you start thinking about what a great storyline, those guys all going in, and that's exactly what happened. Well deserved. He's been a fantastic Yankee, and there's a reason we have kept that number put to a side. No one's ever used it since he left, and at some point, obviously, that number gets retired, and as it deserves, and he's between his playing career and his managing success with the Yankees, what a spectacular career in baseball.
All right, we know we got to let you go, but final question: will you see sunlight during this trip down here? Because you're always so busy in the building.
What are you implying?
Not saying you need a tan. I just need to get out and relax a little bit.
Get me some makeup.
Little pool time, maybe. Enjoy the weather.
I tell you, I'd love the therapeutic sanity walk out in the sun every now and then. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work out that way. We get sequestered in these rooms, and you have so many meetings, one after the other. So it's hard to get out there. And then with all the job seekers and the fans and the media, it kind of keeps you buttoned in the hole a little bit. So.